Jessica, the Reincarnated Dog. By Hak Jin Kim. Jessica the dog. In the backseat of Ellen's car, Jessica stares at a woman through the window. She is waving hands to Jessica for farewell with tears in her eyes. That makes Jessica feel sad and nervous. Because she won't be able to live with that woman any longer. At the same time, Jessica wonders if she can live well with a new master, Ellen, and her family. She tries to feel easy about her new home with positive thinking. Soon, a train of thoughts in the past few years continues in her mind. And all her thoughts flash back to the days when she came up with the memory of a man. One day after she had been weaned. Jessica isn't just a dog like other puppies. A man, who died 2 decades ago, was reincarnated into a dog. That's Jessica. The first day when Jessica sensed that she wasn't just a simple dog. She just passed the odd reality. However, day by day she could feel this bizarre situation. And became irritated from the memory of a man. As days went by, at some point she became used to live with those bygone days. And even began to try to resume the memory of that man. Which had been her past life one by one. As she turned 2 years old, she almost found out all about her previous self, the man, Andy Graham. Andy Graham was a tall man with blonde hair and blue eyes. He had worked as a junior high school teacher while living with his only daughter, Sue, whom he got from his early marriage that ended in divorce. As a single parent, he had never been bothered with his daughter, who even went to college where she could commute from home. He loved his daughter, Sue, so much. And never had any relationship with other women. He had been busy by doing activities after work to keep him from being lonely. He often went rock climbing and liked playing tennis and skiing. And his swimming was first rate. When he died of terminal cancer, he was in his early 50s. 2 decades later he opened his eyes in a basket with other puppies. And was named Jessica. Soon Jessica, the man reincarnated, was adopted into a woman. To be a dog was a real shock since she became aware of her past life. But she had no idea what to do with it. She had been dumbfounded at her figure, but had to endure it. While she was exploring the memory of her past, she was desperate for a need to prove herself. But all she could hear was just the dog's reverberant bark. As this chaotic time passed, she gave up hope. Instead, she decided to behave herself as it stood, a female dog, Jessica. When she comes back down to earth, her wailing former master is lost in sight. Jessica thinks that she won't forget her former master, who had taken care of Jessica with all her heart, and now leaves to work as a Peace Corps volunteer in a foreign country. After a 2-hour ride with Ellen, who becomes her new master, Jessica arrives at a house where a family of 4 is living. Ellen, a high school junior, gets off her car and takes Jessica out of the backseat. In the distance, Tom Hansen, Ellen's father, who has played basketball alone, sees Ellen's car pull into the driveway and come toward him. He runs to Ellen with excitement. Ellen exclaims, "Dad, Jessica's here. Look at her." In Ellen's arms, Jessica's looking around her new home, and finds her so-called daddy. He seems so pleased to see Jessica, and caresses her head gently. "Hey, here you are. I'm your daddy now. We are going to be good friends." And they all go together through the front door. Soon a middle-aged woman, Ellen's mother, comes from the kitchen to greet Jessica. For a flash, Jessica recognizes who she is. She is familiar to Jessica at first glance. Jessica feels dizzy and mumbles, "Gosh. What a surprise. I see my loving daughter, Sue Graham, before me." Jessica is so overwhelmed by Sue's appearance that she can barely contain her breath. She feels enormous gratitude for a reunion with Sue. As the excitement subsides a little, she feels a bit sorry about her situation. When she realizes that Sue becomes her human mom, whom she is able to get along with for the rest of her life. But she holds a wish that she will let Sue know the truth and recognize her late father, Andy Graham, someday. Sue seems excited by Jessica as much as Tom. But she has no time for Jessica because she busies herself fixing lunch for her family and a guest, Ellen's close friend, John. Sue still looks energetic like she used to. While Jessica is looking at Tom and Sue, she feels easy and happy. Looking back upon her past life as a man, Andy, especially when he was about to die, he couldn't close his eyes, leaving his good girl who was devastated by her father's last moment. About 2 decades from then, Jessica can be relieved by facing that Sue has made her own loving family and will take care of her, Jessica, the man reincarnated. Tom, Sue's husband, a tall and healthy middle-aged man who teaches high school literature, has been known as a supportive man in his workplace and his neighborhood. He is always ready to help people anytime and everywhere, so he's welcomed wherever he goes. Brian, Ellen's fraternal twin brother, is on his way home from camping to have lunch with John and his family. Both Ellen and Brian are very optimistic all the time by nature and adventurous, so that they never rest at home idling. Everyone in the house looks perfect for Jessica, and this family seems to be the best guardian Jessica can aspire to. All she has to do is to accept this reality happily as a speechless female dog. Even if she still can't understand why this happens to her. Jessica sighs, but soon becomes curious about the house. How Sue and her family have managed. Jessica runs up the stairs heading toward Sue's master bedroom. She sees the clean room where everything is tidy, and feels warm with the sunlight beam. As she looks around the room, she finds a painting, which seems to be done by Sue, who teaches middle school art. Beside it, a picture is hanging on the wall. In the picture, Jessica can see Andy, a tall blonde man who stands next to Sue. They look so happy that Jessica gradually becomes sentimentalized over the memory of Andy and his daughter, Sue. Sue was such a nice girl that she never let Andy down. She never mentioned about why she had her father, only because she couldn't remember her mother's existence. Jessica recalls how Andy's ex-wife, Jenny Bacon, left him and Sue. Jenny was an ambitious woman who couldn't let herself live as a teacher's wife raising their daughter. Jenny moved to the big city to have a successful career. It was heartbroken when Andy had no choice but to let her go, because he didn't want to be an incompetent man in a big city. While Jessica has been lost in memory for a moment, she hears Ellen call out from the dining room. "I'll come downstairs, Ellen." "Bow wow," Jessica barks. "Hey, are you done with the house? How does that look to you, Jessica? You have Dad, Mom, Brian and me. Come on. Let's go out in the backyard. I have a ball to play with you." Ellen leads Jessica to the backyard. Jessica hears birds singing in the cloudless blue sky. "Catch it." Ellen throws a soft plastic ball. Jessica's excited, feeling happy with a nice family, especially with Sue. While playing, Ellen seems to check messages every minute, and then walks to the driveway to get some reference books from Lisa, who comes by. At that point, Ellen finds a young man getting off his car, parked on the street in front of the house. Ellen waves to him with a big smile. Lisa turns her head to check who's in the back and finds her classmate, John. "Oh, John's here," Lisa says. Ellen says, "Yes. We'll have lunch together." Lisa goes back to her car waving fingers to John. Since Ellen and John become friends, it's the first time ever for Ellen to invite him to have meal together with her family. Either one of them has never asked about family matters. They just share things like hobbies and assignments. The only thing Ellen knows about him is that he stays with his mother and his maternal grandmother. She has been fine with him talking and having fun. And then she invites him for lunch to introduce him as a friend to her family. Her parents have trusted Ellen whatever she does because she never made trouble. In a second John comes to Ellen and seems to be surprised a little. "What a surprise you have a pretty puppy," John says. "It happens, huh? I've never expected I can adopt a dog because I couldn't stand being with it for a second." Ellen responds with smile on her face. "Things change anyway.